Okay, though everyone may know the two candidates, I'd like to introduce Al Lundgren, candidate for Morgan County Attorney, and Jesse Ferris, the other candidate for Morgan County Attorney. Our format for the debate discussion is following a 4-minute introduction from each candidate. Then we're going to give a list of questions that have been handed out. We're going to go through those, not necessarily in that exact order, but we're going to try and get through that list of questions. And each candidate will have a 2-minute answer, and then the other candidate will do a 2-minute follow-on answer / rebuttal. They're going to alternate each question. One candidate will go first. On the next question, the other candidate will go first. This will all be controlled by our moderator, Brent Bowman, over here to my left, and I'll be keeping time over here on your left with that big set of numbers on that table. It makes a big ding at the end of 2 minutes. So, without further ado, I would kind of hand the mic over to candidate Al Lundgren to introduce himself, and we'll get started.
Thank you very much. Thanks to each of you for coming tonight. I know all of you have busy and demanding schedules, and to take some of your time out is a sacrifice for you. But it's also an opportunity you have to get to know the candidates better. And I know I'm grateful you come. I'm sure Mr. Ferris is also grateful. I am Al Lundgren. I've been in Morgan County for over 13 years. I want to tell you a little bit about me and my background. I am married. My wife, Karen, unfortunately cannot be here tonight. She's tending some grandchildren. We have a large family. This is the second marriage for us. Together we have 16 members of our family that we all call children. And we define that rather loosely. 40 grandchildren. And yes, I can name all of their names, but not in any particular order. Two of the children we care for are handicapped. One is a Down syndrome woman who is in the last stages of her life, and then we have a 24-year-old boy that graduated from Morgan High School, a fetal alcohol child, and that comprises our immediate progeny. I've been an attorney for over 20 years. I practiced a great variety of law in those 20 years. It's been an exciting and stimulating experience for me. I graduated from the Brigham Young University School of Law, which they call the J. Reuben Clark School of Law, with honors. I am a second career attorney. I was attending BYU Law School when 3 of my children were on campus going to BYU general education courses. I've been admitted to a handful of federal and state courses, California to Missouri and many of them in between. I'm a former business owner. Prior to going to law school, I owned and operated several businesses. That gives me a deep appreciation for what needs the average citizen has in this county. And that includes a stint as a real estate developer during those years. I am the former chairman of the Morgan County Board of Appeals. I served there for 5 years. And that was a great experience as well. I served on the Board of Variance, which is the flip side of that same committee. I'm a former police officer. I worked for Murray City. And I have 3 years experience with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Now I'm hitting the highlights. I've raised chickens and done a bunch of other things too. But what I'm trying to communicate to you is I've had a great deal of experience. I've had a great education. And I bring that to the table in my assertion that I am the best qualified person for the job of county attorney. This county has gone through a growing phase. It's quiet now, but it's going to go through another growing phase. And when we do go through those growing phases, we need people in this county, in every office, that have a broad base of experience, they can understand issues, they can get to the core of them, and for the attorney's office, they can identify the legal issues, find those kinds of answers that are needed to help and support the county council and the staff and the other elected officials in this great county. I think my experience lends itself very well to that kind of experience and that kind of offer for each and every citizen in this county and each and every employee of the county that exists. this now. Many of you know I'm also serving a term on the county council. That's been highly educational to learn the inner workings of the county and to participate in that way as well. It hasn't been without its stumbles. We're stumbling right now, as all of you know, through a real difficult situation. But you know, we've got great people in this county. And it's my prayer and my wish that everybody pulls together this time. We keep our eye on the ball. We make sure that this county continues to grow and succeed and remains with the wonderful values that we've enjoyed through all of these years. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jan Harris. I have a bit of a support staff here with me this evening. I have my wife, Wendy. She works over at First National Bank. And Brock and Zane, my two boys, are flanking her. My daughter, Bailey, is over at the high school playing volleyball right now, and so she couldn't be here. I want to take just a minute and tell you a little bit about my background. I was raised in a small town in southern Idaho, Jerome, Idaho. Kind of a farming community. We take a lot of potato farmers, a lot of dairies, and basically was raised on a small 3-acre piece of land. We had a family milk cow, which we hand milked. I usually milked in the evening. My father milked in the morning. We sold milk to neighbors, had chickens, and delivered eggs. Just a fun little town to grow up in. After leaving Jerome, I left for Toronto, Canada for a couple years. I served my church there as a missionary, and that's where I met my wife. She was also a missionary there in Canada. And after our missions, we both went to Ricks College, which is now BYU, Idaho, and graduated from there. And from there, I was interested in law enforcement and transferred down to Weber State and completed a degree there in criminal justice. And was actually, my first law enforcement job was while I was back up in Ricks College. I was a reserve deputy there for about a year and a half. And then my first job with a big department was with Salt Lake City Police Department. Hired on there just after I graduated. And worked there for 7 years as a police officer and as a detective. Midway through my career with Salt Lake City Police Department, there was a need for a union president. And that's not the most politically correct, I guess, place for a police officer to be, because if you take that position, you're pretty much writing off your advancement within the ranks. Because you have to go head-to-head with the police chief. Sometimes you have to go head-to-head with the mayor. You have to negotiate collective bargaining agreements. You're basically a union boss, but you still wear a uniform during the week. And so one day you're taking orders from a sergeant, and the next day you may be back talking to him when you're sitting across the negotiation table and negotiating a contract. And so my fellow officers felt strongly enough about my personality and about my integrity that they would give me the opportunity to vote me into that position. And I was proud to represent over 200 officers for 3 years as the president of the Salt Lake Police Union. While an officer, I was very proactive. I did a lot of on-view drug arrests. I loved to get out there and mix it up. After a few years, after over 7 years there, I gained a great respect for the prosecutors that I dealt with. And I decided I would love to be a prosecutor. And that's been my goal ever since, is to be a prosecutor. So I left my position with Salt Lake City Police Department. I went to law school in Idaho, where I was from, University of Idaho Law School. I graduated law school a couple semesters early because I hustled along and did summer school and graduated about 6 months in front of the rest of my class, along with a few other students. I passed the bar exam here in Utah the first time that I took it, and had a job with the bankruptcy court, and then for a couple of years ran a small office with my wife. It's been my privilege to be your county attorney for the last 4.5 years. The previous county attorney, Kelly Wright, took a position in Salt Lake City. There was an opening. I put in for it, and the previous county council appointed me to that position. I then ran, my opponent dropped out just before the election 4 years ago, Mr. Van Kampen, and I ran unopposed. It's been my privilege to be your county attorney for the last 4.5 years. I feel like I've done a good job, and I've given it my all, and I appreciate you being here today.